Hi friends, my name is Lilstarnerd. Welcome to another video in my 12 Days of Christmas series. Happy holidays! Today I'm doing a follow to a video that I low-key forgot I even made. I knew I made that video and I knew I was gonna do a second part. When I made the first part, forgot I did any of it. Today I am giving you 10 more ideas to fill your sketchbook with. You guys really seem to like that first video, which is great, because I'm not gonna lie to you, this is an easy video to make, and I'm tired and I need something easy right now. I don't know if you can tell, I'm sick. At the time of recording, I'm sick, and I'm sorry that I sound like this. I hope you can barely hear it. But my point is, I need something that does not require much effort, and that's this. So that's what we're gonna do. Before we jump into it, I do want to say that I'm not trying to tell you exactly what to do. The purpose of these ideas is not for me to literally tell you what to do, but to kind of get you warmed up and like get your brain started. I think the best ideas are the ones that kind of get you thinking differently, give you a different perspective, or just kind of jumpstart your creativity. You know, my goal here is not for us all to have identical sketchbooks. I'm not giving you like a specific thing to draw. So if that's what you're looking for, that's not this. When I'm looking for some sort of prompt or when I'm looking for inspiration for my sketchbook, what I'm looking for is kind of like a warm-up, a place for me to start my brainstorming. And so that's what I'm trying to give you. You know, I find that I come up with my best ideas or my most creative ideas, or I come up with my ideas most often when I'm kind of already in the middle of something else. You know, I've already had a chance to get my creative juices flowing, and I have the opportunity to work it out real time. So like the ultimate goal here is that I give you something that acts as a starting point for, you know, your full idea later on, if that makes sense. Also, if you just want to use these as very straightforward prompts, go ahead. My point is, do whatever you want. Your sketchbook is for you to do what you will with. Who am I to stand in the way? Also, one more thing before we get into it, I want to thank my patrons. Your names are on screen. Thank you so much for your support. You mean the world to me. If you haven't yet, I kindly request you check out my Patreon. Every month we do really fun stuff over there. There's a little chat room. I do exclusive art updates. There's a monthly exclusive video, podcast, and there's postcards and stickers, as well as monthly originals. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, go check it out. Thank you for your consideration. Now, without further ado, let's get into these 10 ideas. Number 1 is to fill a page or a spread with very specific anatomy studies. Things like breaking down the anatomy of an eye, fingers, toes, abs, stomachs. Get really specific, because I feel like so often we can kind of do anatomy studies and then it's like a torso, and then you vaguely know how to draw like a triangle, but really, do you know actually what the anatomy is of the torso? Probably not. I found that when I break things down to really specific body parts, I actually start to understand them a little bit better, and it's much more useful than doing anatomy studies of kind of scribbling full bodies. So pick a random body part and just start drawing it. Number 2 is vaguely inspired by my Pinterest pin board challenge character prompt thing. Either actually try to do that, like have someone create a board of 10 to 15 pins for you to create a character based off of, or ask someone that you know, family member, friend, to describe a character to you and then try to create it. I think everyone's creative brain works differently, so maybe you want them to describe their physical characteristics, maybe the world that they live in, maybe kind of the things that they do every day, their storyline, whatever's gonna make sense for you to then create a character off of it. If character design is something that you kind of want to get into or you're interested in, I think this is a really great way to softball yourself into it. Super low pressure, super silly, and very, very fun, and oftentimes snowballs from one idea to the next. For 3, we have low pressure collages. I've talked a lot about this, I feel like, but I cannot get enough of them. Collage is an art form in itself. I suck at them. I don't understand what makes a good collage. But there is something so therapeutic about cutting out pretty pictures and then gluing them into your sketchbook. I also have a stack of Nat Geos that I flip through for my collages, and so often flipping through them sparks so much other creativity and inspiration and ideas looking at all the beautiful photos. I love cutting out letters and making little serial killer notes, cutting out people to put them on a different background. It's so basic, it's so silly, it's so low effort, and it's so fun. Oftentimes while I'm making one, I actually come up with an idea for a real piece that I would like to make. So if you have newspapers, magazines, whatever available to you, I highly recommend you try it as a really simple, fun exercise. A low effort creative day, or maybe your warm up, something really fun and simple, and go easy on yourself. It does not have to look good. 4 is using your old photos as inspiration. If you don't know, I have this series where I take my mom's old family photos and I recreate them, I repaint them, and it's kind of like an artistic collaboration between me and my mom's young self. I find it incredibly wonderful and motivating and inspiring, and I think more people should tap into this source of inspiration. Look through old family photos, or even just like your old phone's photos, and keep looking until you find something that you find visually interesting, or it has a good memory attached, or it makes you happy. Redraw it, reinterpret it, insert maybe your own characters into that photo, print it out, chop it up, draw on top of with it, whatever you feel, but take that photo as your source of inspiration and run with it. I love the look of old family photos and the kind of old flash photography. I think it's so gorgeous, and I think if you look at your old family photos, you're gonna find stuff that like you're immediately gonna fall in love with and have an idea for. Number 5, pick your favorite show, movie, book, source of media, and then design a character to fit into that world. Anywhere from like Lord of the Rings to New Girl, no matter what it is, try to come up with some sort of character that could realistically fit there. If the idea of a self-insert is a little too cringe for you, you could also try reinterpreting a character. For example, if that character is an animal, draw what they might look like as a human. But I personally find the idea of self-inserts actually very, very easy to kind of be creative and use as a starting point. It might be hard to like come up with what a cat would look like as a human, but I think we all know what we want to look like as an elf, right? Like we all want to be a mermaid. I could tell you right now what my tail's gonna look like, easy peasy. And it doesn't actually have to be you either. You can just create a character. I hear a lot of feedback that people kind of struggle to come up with characters or they don't know how to make OCs. And to me, kind of figuring out what world does this person live in to comfortably create the parameters of what they would be, that's the hardest part. So instead of having to do all the work yourself, just pick a pre-existing world and slap together a character based off of that. 6, it might be a bit out of some people's comfort zone because I'm asking you to leave your house. But go out in public and try to draw buildings or people, whatever you find most difficult or honestly most comfortable, and do it quickly. Not just like urban sketching, but like let's go fast. Give yourself like 30 seconds to draw a building, draw a street, draw a person. I say this because I am someone who is very intimidated by this stuff, and adding a time limit makes it just so much easier. You know, it's probably gonna be bad, so you don't have to feel guilty about when you try really hard and you take 30 minutes and it still looks ugly. You can just blame it on the fact that you only had like a short amount of time. It's also really embarrassing to be seen doing it, especially when you're not good at it yet. So if you do it really quickly, you can change locations frequently and you are far less likely to get caught. 3, it is a great warm-up and kind of introduction into urban sketching. Like I said, I get really intimidated by it. It's just like a hard thing to go make yourself do. But doing it really quickly, giving yourself that time limit kind of forces you to just jump right in. It limits your options instead of wondering like, what should my color palette look like? What materials am I using? Just grab a pen and just start sketching, and whatever happens, happens. It's also super easy to fill pages and pages that way. Draw the same subject over and over from different angles, different positions, and it's great for training your eye to like start drawing from life. And I'm a huge believer in the idea of changing your scenery being a great way to kind of freshen your creative energy. Now for number 7, start with the color palette. I love doing this. I went through a phase recently of just liking colors, just liking swatching. And honestly, I'll tell you right now, this prompt, you can just swatch. Take a page and just swatch pretty color palettes. There is nothing more fun than coming up with just colors that look nice next to each other. And if you spend 2 hours and 2 sketchbook spreads just playing with that, I'm certainly not gonna judge you. Or if you wanna do more than just swatch, pick out a color palette, something that you really like, that you find inspiring, and let that determine what you draw. And if you're looking at the color palette, you can't come up with anything, do your go-to, whether it's portraiture or an animal, draw that and then use that color palette to color. But I really like coming up with a color palette and going like, what does this make me think of? And then draw that, and it's always fun. And like I said, swatching is really fun, so if all you want to do is just swatch all day, I love that for you. Number 8 is super simple. Draw your OOTD, or your outfit of the day. I see so many artists do this, and it's so fun and so cute every time, but a lot of them are digital artists. I think it's a great way to fill up your sketchbook, like just being like, hey, here's what I wore today. It's also a really fun way for me to like sneak in doing self-portraits. Probably you'll be drawing yourself wearing the outfit of the day, and I love making people draw themselves. I think self-portraits are amazing, but also if that's not something that you want to do, you don't have to. If you have like an OC that you like, or just another character that you like, put your outfit on that character, draw that instead. And it's a great way to practice a couple of different things. Drawing fabric and clothes, stylized characters, or realistic characters, depending on how you go about that. Consistency in characters, and drawing people in different poses and positions. I think this one is just super cute, and it's literally like, no matter what, you're probably wearing clothes, right? I'm hoping that you're wearing some clothing. So if you've opened up your sketchbook and you are just absolutely stumped, nothing is working for you, nothing comes to mind, draw your clothes, bestie. Boom, you're done. Number 9 is, we're getting a little specific on this one, but think of something incredibly visually complicated, drawn in pen with no sketch. This one is also very warm-uppy, but basically I'm thinking something like machinery or like a really intricate building, maybe a car or intricate fabric patterns. Anything like that, anything that you can think of that is just like really complicated. Grab a pen, a reference photo, and just go for it. It can be incredibly frustrating. This might not be a great one for like building confidence, but I think it is a really fun one to kind of, it helps train your brain, you know what I mean? I think it's a great way to speed run warming up. And it also kind of helps you learn perspective and detail, and it helps you work from reference, because this is one thing that I used to do all the time to help me better learn how to draw more accurately from reference without having to like trace or anything. Just like paper here, reference here, and like copy, was doing really, really detailed stuff. You know, it helps you with spatial awareness and kind of transferring images. So it's like fun, it's complicated, and it's honestly really frustrating, and and it can be really, really difficult. But if you're looking for a challenge or something just a little bit different, then you should try it out, because it can also be fun if you're up for it. And finally, number 10, try doing some super limited color or value studies. I've mostly done this with landscapes, but I think it will work for pretty much any subject or photo. Take that photo and try to represent it with as few values as possible. You can even just take like one photo and try redoing it over and over and over again until you're satisfied with your number of values and how well you've copied it. This one is actually pretty hard. Like it takes a lot of brain power, and as someone who's not used to thinking in terms of like black and white and values and shapes, I could very easily fill multiple sketchbook spreads with just doing this. And it's fun, it's a thinker, and if you're smart about your color choices, it can also be very pretty and aesthetic. Great warm-up, and also just a great exercise in terms of thinking about value and shape and composition. This one is probably one of my favorites, and I highly recommend that everyone try it out, even if you're not like stumped for ideas. There we go. Those are my 10 ideas to help you fill your sketchbook. I hope you found at least one of them interesting and useful. Let me know if you have any plans to try any of these out. I would love to hear it. I would love to see them. Tag me on Instagram, I guess, if you want to. That'd be fun. Anyways, I'm really hungry. I need to go eat lunch. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday, winter season, December season. I will see you guys next time in a few days. Go watch a movie, have a sweet treat, and go do some art. See you later. Talk to you later.